This is an NBC News special report. Here's Lester Holt.
Good afternoon. We're coming back on the air with breaking news about that shooting at the University of Nevada in Las Vegas. NBC News is reporting, according to law enforcement sources, that there are multiple fatalities, and police say the suspect is also dead. There is, as you might understand, a massive police presence on and around campus. There is even a ground stop in place at the airport, which is virtually next door now. The university, with an enrollment of about 30,000 students, has closed for the rest of the day. Las Vegas Metro PD holding a news conference with new information. It just got underway.
This is still a very active and dynamic scene, so if you can avoid the area, we would appreciate it. And we'll be providing additional updates in the very near future. Thank you. There are victims. Yes, there are victims.
Yes, on behalf of the entire first responder community, though, of course, our hearts go out to any of the families that are affected by this. Our update right now is that we do have a reunification center that is opened up at the convention center. That's at the North Hall. It will take time to transport students over to that area, but if you can't get a hold of your loved ones right now, your kids or somebody that you're concerned with, then that would be the place to go and to try to go ahead and do that reunification. We will have people there to assist you. We also have a phone number. It is being staffed. It's 702-455-AIDE. And there'll be a website opened up, and it's facofsouthernnevada.com. Okay, and so that is our current information that we have for victim services, and that will change also as or be updated as necessary. But we will have those resources there. Understand when you call that number or you check the website, the information right now will still be limited, and there won't be any specific information as far as individuals that have been injured or deceased.
Sheriff, what's happening on the campus now? I see people leaving.
So as you can imagine, the campus is a very large area to cover. Much like we had in the aftermath of 1 October, there's a lot of additional calls coming in that students hunkered down, they're afraid, they're scared. Our officers are going unit by unit, building by building with the university police and the rest of the police officers, firefighters, EMS, and making sure that we don't have any additional victims and or subjects. So we'll be back with you in the very near future to provide an update. Thank you.
Any info on the suspect?
Sheriff, I have an update as well. I'm sorry, on that website. That's going to be facofsouthernnevada.org. I believe I said .com. That is .org.
Thank you, sir. All right, so we just got the latest information on the situation here.
All right, we've been dipping into that news conference there in Las Vegas. Let's get right to NBC investigative correspondent Tom Winter, who's tracking developments. Tom, we heard the sheriff say there are victims. What more do we know beyond that?
Right, Lester. So we know from the Las Vegas Police Department posting on social media some time ago now that the suspected shooter in this incident has been found deceased. Then on top of that, we've been told by multiple senior law enforcement officials that there are perhaps 1 to 2 others that are not involved, or not the shooters of this incident, rather, that are also deceased. The numbers are very fluid right now, as you can imagine, as we just saw. This is a very dynamic scene with a lot of law enforcement arriving on scene to help clear these buildings. So the specific numbers are a little bit in doubt. And of course, knowing that these are students, their parents are probably watching, we want to be cautious as far as what we know so far. But we do know that multiple people have been shot. At least 2 others besides the shooter are believed to be dead. The shooter is believed to be dead. And at this point, there's no indication that there are any additional threats. But of course, they're doing everything that they need to do, which is going from building to building, room to room, to make sure that there are no additional victims and that there's not any other potential suspect that they're looking for. And so that's the current state of the investigation. Just too soon to say here, Lester, what the motive might be. So we'll hold off on any sort of speculation, certainly on that, and continue to wait for officials to brief from the scene. It's clear at this point, listening to the sheriff and to the chief there who's oversees the school's policing department, that there's a lot more details to figure out.
All right, Tom, thanks. We are starting to hear more about the shooting. Here's one parent describing what her daughter, a UNLV student, told her about those terrifying moments.
First, we were getting the text messages from UNLV, thank God. And then I ran out of work. I came over here. She wasn't answering. Her phone was going straight to voicemail. So that was scary. We came out here, and then she finally called and texted and says that they're in a dorm. She was crying. She was hysterical, saying she heard the gunshots, she heard the screaming, and they're putting her in a dorm.
And now they've moved her, you said?
And they moved her again right now in a room with all the lights off, and they don't know what's happening.
Carmen Best is a retired Seattle police chief and joins me. Thank you for being with us. I want to get your sense of the suspect apparently is deceased, as they say. So it would be probably likely they'll have an ID on the person soon. Would that be the next crime scene, the next place that officers would want to go?
Well, absolutely, Lester. There'll be multiple things happening as we speak. There'll be large teams of officers, as was stated earlier, going through the facilities and the buildings, making sure there are no other decedents, no other issues, no other persons or perpetrators, and as well as the folks that will be responding as investigators to get the suspect, to identify him, to start reaching out, finding out how he may have got there, if he was a student, he or she, I'm not sure the gender, was a student, or if they were faculty or what have you. So a lot of things are going to be going on simultaneously. Clearly you have the ATF and others on scene to try to locate the weapon, find out where it came from, if it was legally purchased, and that sort of thing.
All right, Chief Best, thanks. Let's go right back to Tom Winter right now. Tom, I understand you've got some new information.
That's right, Lester. Police now saying on the record that there is no further threat in their eyes as far as this investigation is concerned, that there's no other shooter that might be out there. They're saying that they don't have any idea about what the motive might be at this stage of the investigation. And of course, it's early in the investigation. They also say that a number of victims have been transported to area hospitals and that they're hoping to provide some more details on that soon. The investigation is, of course, active and ongoing, and as we're very much watching right here on the screen.
And Tom, let me turn to Chief Best one more time. We obviously see far too many of these, but there are lessons embedded in them. What are some of the main lessons that law enforcement has learned about handling these kind of incidents?
Well, unfortunately, and yet fortunately, because we've had so many of these, law enforcement trains for these situations. They also train to use mutual aid in these instances. So they're quick to respond, to set up containment, to locate, go directly for the threat. We've learned since Columbine not to set up and stage outside, but to actually immediately go in and try to eliminate and contain the threat to others. Unfortunately, that's the nature and the state of things today. Students and faculty also are well aware of lockdown procedures and other things that are in place to provide the maximum safety in these types of situations.
And I always wonder about first responders in these situations, the first people on these scenes, how difficult it must be and how it has to affect them.
Yes, it's incredibly dangerous, as you know, but that's what they're paid for. That's what they're sworn to do. That's what they're trained to do. And in many of these circumstances, you see officers and others going right directly in immediately and taking action. And that is the nature of the training for these situations.
All right, Chief, thanks very much. That concludes this NBC News special report. More coverage ahead on our streaming channel, NBC News Now, online as well at NBCnews.com. I'll be back with more tonight on NBC Nightly News. I'm Lester Holt. Good day.